Thank you for joining us at the Microsoft Cloud and AI Bootcamp. It's great to be with you here today. My name is Zia Mansour. Use the Q&A button to ask any questions throughout the session for our chat moderators to answer. Now, as we enter the middle innings of AI, our shared goals for customers remain the same. What's changing is the conversation. It's evolving towards the idea of organizations becoming frontier firms. So what is a frontier firm? Simply put, it's an organization that embeds AI into everything it does. The focus is now on how you are using AI to enrich employee experience, reinvent customer engagement, reshape business processes, and bend the curve on innovation. AI adoption is accelerating, and right now it's agents, agents, agents. Everyone is talking about agents. You can see a few headlines here, and maybe you're even starting to feel a bit of agent fatigue. Where do you get started? What is the real business value? What has actually changed? I want to take a moment to reflect on the building blocks and how you should be thinking about what's different now and what's coming next. There has been rapid innovation in reasoning models. Some people refer to it as test time compute. But what really matters is that reasoning models are foundational to why agent conversations have emerged. These models have enabled chain of thought reasoning and have led to higher benchmarks and intelligence. In some cases, we're seeing performance at PhD level. They're better at solving mathematical and scientific problems. We've seen this with OpenAI's models like O1 and O3, and there's even more innovation coming. Second, AI is only as good as your data. That's always been true, and it's even more critical now. The importance of data cannot be overstated. In a world of agents, data access, data security, and data governance become critical. Then there's multimodal and multi channel interaction. If we pause for a moment, many of us still have the muscle memory of interacting with AI through chat or text. That might have been the case before, but as humans, we talk, we listen, we see. We're now seeing major improvements with AI in image, video, and audio capabilities, allowing humans to interact easily and in ways we prefer. These are already being integrated into agent and enterprise workflows, especially images and audio. We're also seeing rapid innovation across models. Model diversity is becoming real. It's no longer about one model for everything, but about choosing the best model for the job. Now, let's talk about memory and entitlements. These are new categories that are becoming increasingly important. Memory will be a key area going forward. And just as having the right data is important, so is governing the interaction with that data, which is the concept of entitlements. What entitlements do I have as a user? What entitlements does an agent have? These questions are going to matter even more and more. All of these building blocks, reasoning models, multimodal capabilities, strong data foundations, memory, and entitlements are what makes agents and multi agent systems possible. These unlock new scenarios that agents can handle today and even more that they'll be able to handle 6 months from now. And so what's possible now is already very different from what was possible just 6 months ago. Which brings me to the final point. A year ago, even 6 months ago, most conversations were focused on identifying the top AI use cases. Prioritizing use cases was the main goal. What I encourage everyone to think about now is not just use cases, but how to reshape business processes. When you reshape business processes across an organization, that's where you start seeing even more value. That's how companies become frontier firms. All right, what I'd love to do now is show you a demo that helps bring some of this to life. What you're going to see first is one of the original demos from over 2 years ago. I'm going to use that as a baseline. Then I'll show you, let's say, an evolved version of a similar type of demo. This will help highlight not only the strong benefits we saw early on, but also what's changed and the significant new value that's being created today. All right, so now let's jump into the demo here. So one of the areas that I talked about around the building blocks was how AI is only as good as your data, and so One of the first things I wanted to kind of show you was Fabric. Um, we kind of built Fabric from the ground up for this era of AI. And you can see here, Fabric consists of a number of different workloads. And so it brings together what in many enterprises today would be very separate, different applications into one unified data platform. So you can see here from data engineering to data factory, data science, data warehouse, even operational databases, Power BI, and of course, real time intelligence. And so now you have this single kind of fabric data platform that can handle a variety of different workloads. But let me kind of jump into why I think this is so important and one of the key kind of innovation areas that we've done with Fabric. One of the biggest organizational challenges today is you typically across the enterprise, you have data across your enterprise coming from various different sources, different vendors, and different business units. And look, I've been in the data space for a little while. There's kind of been this promise over many, many different years that look, you're going to solve your data problems if you kind of bring your data into this one big data lake or this one big data warehouse, and then life is going to be great. But guess what? That reality never kind of comes to fruition. As soon as you kind of bring data to one place, it kind of springs up somewhere else, and so you see data sprawl. It's just a reality of every organization's. So one of the key things in Fabric we have is this idea of one lake. Think about it as the one drive for your organizational data. Another way I like thinking about it is you have this kind of data virtualization layer where you can kind of bring data together. And in some ways, you don't even have to kind of move data. So let me show you this example here. So this is showing you a lineage view of this Quintoso sales scenario in Fabric. And so you can see here in this data lineage view, you have data sitting in Azure in ADLS Gen 2. You have data sitting in Amazon. And so one of the great things with Fabric is when data is stored in kind of an open file format, think about Amazon S3, a Delta file format, Iceberg, you can actually just create a shortcut to that data without even having to move that data. And so again, there's a ton of benefits you have with this one lake approach with Fabric. And so in this example, you can see I have data sitting in Amazon and Azure, sitting in a operational database with Cosmos DB. I got other sources of data. I even have data coming from Snowflake. And so you can see it in the scenario, you got a bunch of data coming from different sources, and with Fabric, you can kind of bring all that data together and essentially create reports or reason over that data. But now let me jump you into a little demo here. So I'm going to kind of create a report, and one of the things about this demo that I'm going to show you is in many ways I'm going to use kind of the power of Gen AI to use natural language to build a report. Now, while this demo is really interesting, and there's been a ton of innovation around how we use semantic models and make sure that as we build these reports using Gen AI and natural language, that it becomes kind of more easier. We take a lot of the complexity away from behind the scenes to make sure it's high value data that you can action on as an organization and as a business. In many ways, this is a demo I could have kind of shown you 2 years ago. But the reason why I kind of want to show it to you first is to say, hey, look, the value of this demo still exists today. But then I'm going to compare and contrast that with another demo I'm going to show you in a few minutes that then builds upon some of the other capabilities like reasoning models and agents to just show you a little bit around where we are today and some of the incremental value. So look, I got Power BI here. I got Copilot, and I'm going to use natural language and say, hey, create a report showing web bounce rates with as much information as possible. So I'm going to go, again, just using simple natural language. What I love about this is think about you as if you're a business user. Today, when you kind of want to get data and then you don't already have an existing, let's say, dashboard or report, how long does that typically take? You typically kind of go to someone on your data team. They then have to kind of build you that report. And that whole process of kind of coming back to you and showing you a report could take a few days. It could even take, a week or more. Now, think about it. As a business user, I kind of want to just get data and help me make decisions. And using natural language here, I just said create a report showing web bounce rates. And you can see here within seconds, it created a beautiful different report for me. And so look, this is a ton of value, and I continue to get a lot of feedback from customers on how much value they see here. But I'm going to shift gears, and so I'm going to now show you, let's say, this idea of a data agent using some of the capabilities that I talked about. And so let's shift over, and I'm going to now show you another demo. So imagine I'm Ziva, a retailer with stores across the U.S. At first glance, this looks like a typical dashboard. If you remember from the earlier demo, I could have actually built this using a natural language and Gen AI with no code needed. But now what I want to show you here is how we go beyond just looking at data. This is where things get exciting. Using reasoning models and agents, I can actually take action on the data. Things like building an inventory allocation plan, something that might have taken hours or even days, I can now do in just minutes. It's incredibly powerful. Take a look at what I have here. I have inventory levels across Ziva and its different stores. I have historical sales data and more. Now I'm going to run a prompt right here that says we're planning a mid-season promotional campaign for our paint sprayers in selected stores next week. Considering current inventory levels, last week's sales data, and our gross margin target, which stores need extra stock, how many units should be transferred, and how does it impact our overall warehouse capacity? Propose to me a logistics plan and explain how it balances promotion timing with minimal shipping costs. Pretty advanced. And you can see here I now have agents who are now looking at what I've asked it to do and coming together. And so the agents are now going to work. If I kind of go over here to the agent interaction, it kind of shows you what's happening. I have this planner agent that then is working across an inventory analyst agent, a sales analyst agent, and they're kind of coming all together to kind of help me again answer the question, essentially what I asked it to do. And so you can see here, it's now asking for a business analyst agent. And so I'm just going to kind of go back over here. And you can see here, it's reasoning. Again, it's using the capabilities of these reasoning models over all of that provided information. And so in a little while, it'll come back again because it's using a reasoning model and it's using these agent capabilities. It's kind of going through that chain of thought reasoning and a bit of the building blocks that I was talking to you about earlier. Now, look, here's kind of the outcome for just, basically under a minute. And you can see here, it's looked at an evaluation of current inventory levels. It did an analysis of last week's sales trends. It identified what stores need stock. It looked at the quantification of what to transfer. It looked at the warehouse capacity and it proposed a logistics plan. And so if I come down here at the end, you can see here, it has a bit of a conclusion on what to do. Super powerful. Think about what it just did. It analyzed inventory versus demand, and it flagged 7 stores that might run short during the promotion. It built a targeted transfer plan, how to move units from stores with extra stock, like stores 5 and 12, to those that then need it. It ensured the warehouse capacity stayed balanced. It also did a logistics plan that was optimized to minimize shipping costs. So it actually looked and used reasoning to see, hey, the proximity of stores and routing and bulk transfers. And then they made sure every store here was ready for this promotional campaign, especially important stores like stores 2 and 7. So now, like, think about this. Think about how long this would have taken manually, pulling reports, running calculation, coordinating logistics. And with Fabric, kind of this idea of using reasoning models and agents, it's literally done in minutes. And so all of this was powered by Microsoft Fabric, our unified data platform. But also behind the scenes, there was Azure AI Foundry. And so let me just kind of jump over there real quick. So you see here, this is Azure AI Foundry. Foundry is like an AI app server. It's our AI app platform that helps builders build, deploy, and manage AI apps and agents at scale. I like to think of it as your organization's agent and AI factory. It's going to really help you create agents and apps that drive transformation across your business. It powers what you just saw in Fabric, but also powers Copilot Studio. It powers GitHub Copilot. And Azure AI Foundry, it brings together everything you need from model diversity and selection and what's the best model for the job, evaluation tools, observability, Azure AI safety, and more. But let me show you a few highlights. So when I think about kind of the choosing the best model for the job, you can see here in the model catalog, literally thousands of different models, of course, including models like the latest OpenAI models, but many, many others, including open source models, models from Mistral, models from Llama and Meta, the latest models from XAI with Grok, models from Cohere, and many, many other examples. You also have built-in evaluation tools. So if I click here under Azure OpenAI evaluations, you can see you can use evaluation tools to essentially test and refine apps. You can use a lot of these. What I really like is monitoring capabilities. So think about just how important it is to track performance. And then we have some really, really powerful capabilities around AI safety and security. So content safety, you can see your upcoming capabilities on agent controls, integration with Microsoft Purview for data governance. So, kind of in summary, as your organization looks to scale AI, the combination of Fabric as your data platform and Azure AI Foundry as your AI platform, it really gives you the foundation to accelerate your transformation and reshape your business process. The demo you just saw is a good transition and brings us to this journey into an agent powered work world. As you looked at this, many of you might recognize some of the projects you're already working on reflected here. A lot of AI deployments and use cases so far have understandably focused on what we call level one scenarios. These include tools like Copilot or ChatGPT you likely use as assistants to help you work better and faster. At the same time, we're now seeing more and more human led agents. This is the idea that agents can join teams as digital colleagues, taking on tasks from the direction of a human. One of the best examples of this is in software development. What we've been doing with GitHub Copilot has evolved quickly. Software development is going through a fundamental transformation. Now have powerful new features like agentic capabilities in GitHub Copilot, a coding agent, the SRE agent, and a new category we're calling agentic DevOps. These innovations are redefining how software is built, modernized, and delivered. And then there's level three. This is where we move into human led and agent operated workflows. In this model, humans set the direction and agents run the entire business process or workflow. Humans still stay involved, checking in as needed, but the agents are doing the heavy lifting. Now, this slide shows the order of magnitude when it comes to productivity and ROI impact. It's less about the exact numbers and more about the overall idea of the business impact and what it looks like. Level one brings a lot of benefit and a lot of value, and you can see that clearly reflected here. But the main message is this: as you move from level one to level two and then to level three, the overall business impact increases exponentially. That's why there's so much interest and excitement around level two and three. The potential for transformation and value creation grows significantly as you move up that curve. And more importantly, these levels are not sequential, they coexist. As an organization, you'll be leveraging AI across all levels at the same time. There isn't a step by step process where you complete one level and then move on to the next. Different teams, different functions, and different business processes will operate at different levels and coexist depending on the need. That's the reality of how AI is being adopted, and it's exactly how it should be. There's a growing conversation around employee productivity. Right now, 80% of employees and leaders globally say they don't have enough time or energy to do their jobs. At the same time, 53% of leaders say productivity needs to increase. For a long time, intelligence, one of the most valuable assets in any organization, has been locked inside human minds. But for the first time, we now have access to intelligence outside of humans through agents. This is a new kind of resource, and it's one that leaders will need to learn how to manage and measure. Our research points to three key shifts that define what we call a frontier firm. First, intelligence is now on tap. That gives businesses a completely new way to scale. Second, human agent teams are starting to reshape how we operate. And third, every employee is on the path to becoming an agent boss, someone who directs and manages agents to amplify their impact and accelerate their career. We've already started moving in the direction of agents as teammates, but there's something even bigger coming, and it's something we're actively working on. Imagine agents that have their own mailbox, they have their own identity. In fact, we recently introduced Microsoft Entra Agent ID. In this first release, we're launching a unified directory of all agent identities created across Microsoft Copilot Studio and Azure AI Foundry. That means whether an agent is built by a developer or by an information worker, you, as an identity practitioner, can see and securely manage that agent right in the Microsoft Entra Admin Center. And this is just the beginning. Over the next 6 months, we'll be rolling out more capabilities for Microsoft Entra Agent ID. This includes expanded access management, enhanced security features, and identity governance tools. We'll also be adding support for agents from Security Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, and even third party solutions. Now, coming back to what I mentioned earlier, when you bring all of this together, the opportunity is no longer just about identifying individual AI use cases. It's about using these capabilities to reshape entire business processes. That's exactly what we're doing inside Microsoft. And I believe this approach, looking at a day in the life of, examining key business processes across the organization, is where the real transformation happens. And just as important, this shouldn't be static. As the technology evolves and improves, we need to keep revisiting these processes. Continuous improvement will be key. This is where we believe Microsoft can really help accelerate AI transformation. It starts with enriching the employee experience, whether that's through Copilot Chat or Microsoft 365 Copilot, available to all employees. Then there's the data at stake. We recognize that customers operate in complex, heterogeneous data environments. And that's why we've invested heavily in making Fabric a strong data foundations. One of the key components is OneLake, which acts as a data virtualization layer. So whether your data is in AWS, in Snowflake, or elsewhere, we've built strong integrations, including support for open formats like Iceberg and Delta Lake. Fabric is designed to bring all your data together while acknowledging the real challenges enterprises face. As you begin building AI applications, you've also are navigating a world of multiple models. New topics are emerging: agent governance, AI security, safety. They're all becoming increasingly important. And this has led to the creation of a new category we're calling the AI App Server. And in that regard, one area we're especially excited about is how we can support you with Azure AI Foundry. We want to make sure all of this is also wrapped with identity and security. That means full integration across the stack, from data governance and security with Microsoft Purview to tools like Sentinel, Intune, and Defender. Now, let me take a moment to expand a bit more on Azure AI Foundry. Azure AI Foundry is becoming an apps and agent factory. It brings together everything you need to build, deploy, and manage intelligent applications and agents. That includes models, starting, of course, with leading models from OpenAI, but also extending to others like Mistral, Grok, Meta, and thousands more. It includes knowledge capabilities like Azure AI Search. It includes orchestration tools such as MCP, and it covers critical areas like observability, trust, and safety. Azure AI Foundry brings all of this together in one place to help you move faster and build with confidence. Another important area I want to highlight is that Azure AI Foundry also powers Fabric, GitHub, and Copilot Studio. Everything we've built to support our own first party experiences, we are making available to you. And just as important, we're making sure it all integrates seamlessly so you can take advantage of the same capabilities we use internally here at Microsoft. As I wrap, I just want to say it's an incredibly exciting time. As you reflect on your own journey towards becoming a frontier firm, I encourage you to take a step back and look at the opportunities ahead of you. Where are you enriching employee experiences? Where are you reinventing customer engagement? How are you reshaping business processes? And how are you bending the curve on innovation? At Microsoft, we believe we can support you in all these areas, whether it's helping you bring Copilot to every employee, building differentiated solutions using platforms like Fabric and AI Foundry, or strengthening your cybersecurity foundation. We are here to help. We're in the middle innings of AI, and the next several months are going to be transformative. I truly believe you're on the path to reshaping your organization in powerful ways. We've provided you links and resources in the chat and look forward to your feedback. Thank you for joining us.